Mark Yegi, welcome to another Market Pulse. Shell-shocked is what I would say is the word for the week, because these are 2 days in a row that we've had that I haven't seen in 4 years or something like that. It's been really tough for a lot of people, and it's certainly tough for a lot of people if you're not getting income from your account, if you're just watching equity go down because you're a buy and hold investor or whatever. So you've got to figure out a way to create cash flow out of your account. That being said, I want to share with you what I see going on in the market so that maybe you can react to it or at least learn more about what's happening and maybe see why I think what I'm thinking. And you don't have to agree with me. This is just for education, but let's talk about it here. Let me pull up a different screen. Whatever. All right. So what we've got right now is a red market. So you can see 4 red lights showing on the screen. And look at these 2 candles right here. I mean, these candles are really, really bad, really, really rough candles. So you've got to be very, very careful, about these candles, right? Because these candles are showing you something. They're giving you some information. And they're telling you this market is selling off. You see this little line that I drew here? This was a line that touched it 2 or 3 times. And it blew through that line with abandon yesterday, right? And so it blew through. It continued on down. I think it's bouncing a little today, but not by much. And we've got momentum going down. We got the moving averages going down. We got everything is going down. Does that mean it continues? I don't know. We'll see. But I will tell you that history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes in the stock market. And so I want to show you kind of what's going on. I have this pattern called the dreaded H pattern, which I've been talking about here for I don't know, 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever. And a lot of stocks are exhibiting it. And now the market is exhibiting it too. And we're seeing the culmination of the dreaded H. So that's this long H with an upside down U. And then when it gets to the opposite side of the upside down U, if it breaks through that, like it did yesterday and continuation today with gap down, breakaway down gaps, whatever, rough. Like that's a break to the downside. And look at how significant it was. Like this was a long, painful leg, but now we've got some high volume breakdowns going on in the market. And you can see I drew a line kind of ish there at 15,708 all the way across. Wouldn't you know, we hit that swing point. Well, that swing point was last August. So we've destroyed all of the gains we've made in almost a year, in 9 months, just in the last couple of days, right? Or at least certainly in the last few weeks, let's call it. So this market, according to this chart, and this is the NASDAQ, it's really been taking it on the chin. It wants to go down. Look at this dreaded H. And I put 2 swing points on here today. One got hit again, just like the last chart, and the other one is now in play. If we get a bounce on light volume here, great. If we don't, we're going to go to this minor swing point at 49.53, and that's still got some pain left in it. So you got to be careful. These markets they take away so much effort in a very quick period of time. And of course, they go back while you're least expecting it, but you have to sit through a lot of pain first. Look at this one. This is the Dow Jones. Now, this one hasn't reached its swing point, so I think it's gonna, which means there might be some pain left in the Dow, which means the Dow stocks. And then it's got this one in play, this 38,000 even. That's an interesting number, an interesting spot. The New York Stock Exchange Composite. Now, that's a big candle for the New York Stock Exchange, right? Look at these. We thought this candle was bad, right? This is like twice as big as this candle. Twice as big. And that's today. So there is pain in the market, right? And it's freaking people out. People are they're selling their stocks at fire sale prices, which means that market makers are going to take advantage of them and drive it up the other way. That's what they do. That's what happens. I don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe it happens as I'm speaking. Maybe it doesn't happen for another 2 months. I don't know. I kind of feel like it's 2 months, but this is a lot of money given back in a very quick period of time. So maybe it starts to recover. We'll see. Here's what's going on in the VIX. The VIX is showing you a spike from the moving average of around 18, where it's kind of been like 15, 16, 17, la, 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 la. And all of a sudden, boom, it's now at 45. Panic in the market. Panic in the market. And so what does that mean? Don't panic. Got to do the opposite sometimes, right? Or if you're ahead of it, you short or go to cash. Here's the Treasury. Now, the Treasury has been a dismal performer in the last 5 years, but now it's starting to hit this low of 84.89. and it's starting to build some cause to go higher. I think it's got 100 in its sights, maybe 101.64, because the treasuries are a flight to safety. So when the market sells off, the pensions get out of their speculative stocks and their regular stocks, and they put everything into treasuries, and treasuries are going up. So they're being rewarded for that. And there's a lot of other things that I'll talk about in a second with that. But, it's interesting, right? It's spiking up. This whole week has been spiking up. That's the flight to safety. That means interest rates are coming down because they do the opposite of what treasuries do. So everybody's thinking interest rates are going to come down. So treasuries go up. Just a weird kind of a thing. Gold has been hitting recent record highs like crazy, which is great because there's a flight to safety. There's a flight to hard assets. The dollar has been losing value, and that's a lack of faith in the dollar, which is interesting because we're doing these tariffs and all these other things. And so, from this high of 110, now we're down to 102. That's like a 10% decline. And so that's the dollar's breaking down a bit. Other countries, I think maybe the administration wanted this because if you have a breakdown in the dollar, that makes our goods cheaper. If our goods are cheaper, then people start to import from our country. That's kind of interesting, kind of helpful, right? So let's take a look at that. All right. So how do I interpret this market? Well, if you want to see through the tea leaves, here's how I see it. The market's expecting recession. Think about it. A bunch of people are getting laid off from their useless jobs in Washington, which I'm in favor of. I think it's more efficient for the government long term, but short term, those people are going to be on unemployment or they're going to have to find another job. There's going to be a period of time where they're not going to be spending money. Number two, the market's saying, hey, look, we need some rate cuts. And maybe this is engineered by Washington. They're saying, we've got all this debt that we've got to refinance. Let's bring the interest rates down so we can refinance it at lower rates. Plus, high rates are not doing the housing market any favors either, right? So then you're seeing a rotation to some safe havens, right? Gold, housing, bonds. These are safe havens traditionally. You're seeing a full government policy shift. This is not just spend willy-nilly as much as we can spend. We're actually going to try to save money. It's called austerity in Europe, where they save money and we have to tighten our belt a little bit, just like we'd have to do at home when we lose our jobs. We have to tighten our belt. We can't just keep spending. And the money has to come from somewhere. And right now it's coming from our kids and us, right, in the form of inflation. So we got to change that. So here's some moves you can make. You can shift to defensive sectors, utilities, healthcare, consumer staples. You can go to hard assets like gold. But remember, what goes up is going to come down at some point too. But right now, the hard asset play is working. Cash or short-term bonds. Now, be careful about burying money in your mattress, right? Because that's losing value. Now it's losing a little bit less because of inflation, but it's losing value to inflation, which we still have because we still print money. We're going to be printing more. And covered calls, which is what I teach, and I call it the cash flow machine, that continues to generate income, whether your stock's going up, down, or sideways. Obviously, we don't want our assets to go down, but if they're going down, like if you have a house and you rent it out, right, to somebody, as long as they keep paying the rent, you kind of don't care if the house goes up or down in value, right? You're still collecting the rent, if that's the point. That's what we do with covered calls. So let's talk about some of the stocks that we're in. This Apple has got an interesting pattern. This is an ABCD, but it's happened twice on this. So you could see 260 down to 220 is about a 50-point move, right? Or 40-point move, I should say. Then it bounced up to 250. Look at this, 40-point move plus a couple bucks down to 208, right? Then we had a bounce. And a 40-point move takes us down to kind of where we are. Really interesting. And you can see this 196 on the chart is a level that we hit today on Apple. Now, that generally means we're going to get a bounce, which I kind of think on Apple, we're going to go in and fill some of these gaps in here, right? But maybe not today, and maybe not on Monday, and maybe not next week. I don't know. But I still think that, Apple's a good company. I don't see a world without Apple. So maybe, I'm not saying buy it. I'm saying keep an eye on it when it shows a good bottoming formation, and I'll let you know so you can start looking at it. That's maybe where you try to get it. You're not going to try to fish for the exact bottom because you're not going to be able to catch the exact bottom, right? There's only one person that catches the exact bottom, and it's not me. It's probably not you. But when enough people start to catch close to the bottom, then we got a bottoming process. We've gotten rid of the sellers, and now the buyers are going to get back in charge. But that takes a while. But keep an eye on Apple. I think it's kind of maybe hit a little, short-term, capitulation spot where it's going to kind of hang around here. Who knows? We'll see. The interesting thing is that we sell calls against this. And so if you sell covered calls, you could pick up $585 per contract that you have of Apple, which means that's a weekly 3% that you're making, right? 3% on 50 weeks is 150%. Look at that, 150%. The calculator already did it for me, right? That's the power of, even when your stock is going down, if it doesn't go down too much, you can just sit here and make money while you wait for it to recover. It's kind of like creating a dividend out of nothing, is what selling covered calls are. If you don't know about covered calls, you should maybe watch some more videos on here on my channel, because you know, it's a really phenomenal strategy for making money. It's not perfect. There's nothing perfect in the market, but it's pretty good. All right. Tesla. Now, you can see a descending triangle formation. I'm not going to go into all the things about this formation, but there was a gap on this chart at 218. It filled the gap here at 217, created an intermediate. Now, you might see this dreaded H pattern forming here. And so you can see here, 217, Tesla still wants to go tag that. And here it is at 248, down. It was down a little bit more a couple minutes ago. But, you know, I still think there's more pain to the downside, but it's kind of almost at the end. We'll see. You know, Tesla's got a lot of interesting fundamental problems these days, as we all know. But if you can sit there and make cash flow on it, right now at the money, it's paying about 5.4%. Now, some people put money in CDs and they wait a whole year to get 5.4%. We do it in a week in the cash flow machine. Pretty cool, right? But you got to be able to handle a little bit of pain and some downside and maybe some upside, which is kind of cool too. But you get 5.4% just from the juice, just from the income. Okay. Nvidia, couple of descending triangles on Nvidia, and you can see Nvidia did a dreaded H pattern right here, and now it headed, and look at this. This is the cool thing about markets, everybody. This thing tagged the low from way back in August, almost to the penny today, maybe even to the penny, I haven't looked, and then bounced up. Like, that is the coolest thing. There's a gap down, there's another gap down, and it went down and said, you know what? And I told you this a couple weeks ago. Like, I think this 9069 is in play on Nvidia, and everybody's like, no, Mark, Nvidia is a great company. Yes, just like Tesla's a great company, but the stock and the company are two totally different things. And so these sellers are still in charge, and they tag that. What does that mean for us? Well, if we can bounce on light volume here, now we have a bottom or a bottoming process starting to happen. If we go on heavy volume through this today or next week, we have the 75.61 in play. Does that make sense? So I know you guys, maybe some of you think that this is like trying to, you know, read tarot cards or whatever, but markets repeat and they have symmetry and they study the past. And if you don't study the past, you don't see these patterns. You got to draw lines and do all these crazy things that I do. But look at it, 90.69, it hit it to the penny. Like, come on. There's more than voodoo going on there. There's like a conspiracy. There's something going on. Markets are fun. All right. Bitcoin Trust, IBIT. This actually looks fairly healthy to me, even though it's in a short-term downtrend here. It's above the 200. Yes, it's below the 50-day moving average. But this is going to largely do what Bitcoin does. And notice these moves of late are on low volume. There's a couple of high volume candles in here, but the low volume happens after those candles. And that means there's nothing going on. So there's no definitive trend taking place right now. So it's not weak. It's not strong. It's kind of in the middle. And that's okay. That's okay. MicroStrategy looks kind of the same. Palantir, to me, doesn't look bad either, but it did blow through this 74.57, which puts the 63.40 in play. So you've got to be careful on that. But that's a minor swing point. This 74 is a little bit more major, and it hit it, and it bounced right off it today. So if we get a light volume day on Palantir, I think we might have maybe created a little bottoming pattern here. All right. Microsoft, I've been saying for a while, Microsoft's in trouble. It was almost at, $450 at one point a couple of months ago, but it's just steadily, selling off. And I don't see an end in sight. It tagged that old support level there. And that means that if it can't hold this support level, we're headed down to this support level here, which is the low 300s. So we've got to be careful. That looks like about 315 or something like that. Microsoft is not a healthy stock. T-Mobile, on the other hand, is a healthy stock. So you've got this range in here. You see this cup with a handle breakout. Beautiful run up to the 276 level, pullback, creating a consolidation in here. Bad candle today, but what isn't? And so this thing is above the 50, probably going to tag the 50 today or Monday and stay in this consolidation, which is a really nice setup. Finally, we've seen some decent setup. They're not many. They're really hard to find. So that's it from me. Listen, you gotta protect yourself. You gotta protect your accounts. These things can go down a lot longer than we think they can. And if, like I always say, if you're on a path in the forest and you dig a hole in front of you and you can't get around the trees, you got to fill the hole back in before you can walk back on the path. And so the idea is to try not to dig a hole in front of you. And I know, easier said than done, right? But if you cannot dig the hole in front of you, you can just keep going on the path when this stuff is over, right? And it's going to be over at some point. There's going to be a lot of shifting going around with these tariffs, right? But I think all the bad news is out of the way. Like, what other bad news can there be on tariffs? Think about it. Are they going to announce the tariffs are going to increase again? He might, but like now the damage has been done. Like I think he made his move, and now everybody's going to come groveling and saying, "Okay, listen, we'd like to lower those tariffs, so maybe we'll lower the tariffs on you, and now we can start exporting again, and the economy's off and running, or we've got a factory built here, now we can compete, whatever." But there's going to be some. I think he even says this. There's going to be some phlegm, right? And there's going to even be some turmoil, which is what we're seeing the beginning of right now. And all that will eventually settle out and the markets will take over. Listen, I'm done. Have an awesome weekend. Maybe we've got a green market coming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Maybe we don't. But meantime, try to protect yourself during these rough times if you're in the market. If not, keep your powder dry and get ready to buy when it's green. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Thanks for being here on the Market Pulse. Bye.